Hello and welcome to the intro to trigonometry. Trigonometry is a kind of a scary word and we're all a little bit afraid, but really what it is it's just a study of triangles, right triangles, and the ratio of their sides. So like we know that if we have a right triangle and it has a very small angle, well then this might not be as big as this, or the ratio might be a little smaller. But as that angle gets bigger and bigger and bigger, then the ratio of this side to this side is going to be bigger. The calculator knows all of these ratios, so as it goes from like 20 degrees to 25 degrees to 30 degrees and 40 degrees, the calculator can tell us what the ratio of those sides are. But that's really what trigonometry is. As a very intro level concept, the first thing we need to be able to do is name the sides of the triangle, always based on what's called an angle of reference. If you need to pause the video to write this down, that's important. Every triangle that we look at in trigonometry is going to have an angle of reference. And what that is this is the angle by which we view the triangle. So you kind of pretend that you're sitting in the corner where this angle of reference is and say, okay, what are the sides of the triangle? Well, the one opposite me, that one I'm going to call the opposite side. And the one next to me is the one I'm going to call the adjacent side. Hypotenuse is always the hypotenuse. So depending on where that angle of reference is, it depends on where we're going to sit in the triangle to look at it, so we can name the sides differently depending on which angle we're talking about. Okay? This angle of reference is sometimes x, but also is often used a Greek letter theta. It's a little circle with another little circle in it. That's a Greek letter. When you go to college, you'll learn all the Greek letters because everybody will have them on their shirts. But this is the Greek letter theta, okay? And oftentimes that's used. Sometimes it's just, I think on one of your worksheets, we have a triangle like this, and they just do a little thing like that, and they show you that's the angle of reference. But wherever it is, that's where we're going to sit and look and name the other sides of the triangle. And here's how we name them. The side that is opposite the 90 degrees, just like always in every right triangle all the time, is the hypotenuse. Just like always. You might want to pause this and get this down. The side across from the angle of reference. So if I'm the angle of reference and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my sides of the triangle, the one right across from me is called the opposite side. And the one right next to me here, or next to me here, is called the adjacent side. Adjacent means next to. So this is important. And all we're going to work on first is naming the sides of the triangles according to this angle of reference. Hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. Okay? I will show you with some examples here. Okay, in this first example, this is theta. This is my angle of reference. So I'm going to pretend that I'm sitting here in the triangle and I'm looking at the triangle from this perspective, and I'm going to name the sides that I see. Here's the 90-degree angle. So we know the hypotenuse, right? The hypotenuse is always the one across from that. Just like always, this is the hypotenuse. Now, if I'm sitting here, this is my angle of reference. I'm going to look. There's one side that's next to me, and there's one side that's across from me. Right? The two legs. One of the legs, the one that's across from me, I'm going to name, this is the opposite side. And the one that's next to me, I'm going to call this one the adjacent side. And that's all we need to do for right now. Just name the sides. Okay? Opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. So instead of just having leg and leg, or long leg and short leg, we're not sure which one's long and short. One might be, they alternate depending on the angle. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at the angle of reference and say, what does he see? From that angle of reference, opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. Okay? In this one, here's my angle of reference here. Here's my 90 degrees. The hypotenuse I can always do first. That's going to be directly across from the 90-degree angle. Hypotenuse. Okay. Then this one is the, if I'm sitting here and I look at the triangle, I have two legs. One of them is here, that's across from me. The other one is here, it's next to me. Right? So the one that's across from me is called the opposite. The one that is next to me is called the adjacent. Okay? For those of you viewing at home, I'm going to put up 2 more, and I want you to try these. Just name the sides, label them, pause the video, try it, and then restart it, and I'll walk you through the answers. Pause, try, restart. Okay, so this one is the angle of reference. Here's the 90 degrees, so this one is hypotenuse. The one across is the opposite. The one next to, adjacent. This one, here's my angle of reference. Here's my 90 degrees. This one is hypotenuse. Here I am sitting here. I see one next to me and one across from me. The one across from me is the opposite. The one next to me is the adjacent. Have a great day.